increase the types of guests I bring on. Maybe now this will give me a chance to bring on some local musicians, other local business owners,
there you go.
like that. If I'm not doing a business specific episode, try to get a sponsor for it.
I would say like any musician, any type.
Any type local.
Okay, I know a coworker that
there's a couple I'm gonna reach out to, but we'll see what happens.
Okay, cool.
That'd be awesome, man. That'd be real cool.
If I can get like I'll ask them what they think is fair, since I have never charged anyone to do this, and it's something I enjoy in a hobby anyway, and just come back and see what they say. In my head, I have an idea of like $100 in a 4-pack if it's a brewery.
Yeah. Like the beer is the real payoff, right?
Yeah, really. I need something to drink and to cover my expenses.
Yeah.
If I need to buy or rent a movie for this podcast.
Yeah. Oh, so can you give us an update on trying to get your money back? I
totally forgot about it, man. Like too much time has gone by for me to email them. I want my $4 back.
That's right. That would.
Well, I bet you they'll give you like 30 days. And like I said, just say like horse dick in the email, and you'll get your money.
You're like, I got one thing right in the beginning. One thing, horse dicks. They're like, fuck. They won't even read the rest. They're like, okay.
What's up, Henry? He obviously seen the movie. Really quick, guys, let's just dive right into it. What is everybody drinking tonight?
Oh, we were rolling.
Oh, we rolling, man. We've been rolling.
I guess I'll go. I went to the brewery. I forgot what it's called. Chris, you frequent it a lot. Mount Ave. Uptown Brewery.
Uptown is a beverage center, not a brewery.
Beverage center. That's what it is.
Asshole. But it's a pretty big difference.
Hey, listen. Whoops.
like he's the like Chris is like the technically okay motherfucker. I know my beer spots. All right.
But it seems pretty hard to confuse an actual beverage center with 1,000 options as opposed to a place that brews their own beer and has all kinds of equipment and a bar and everything. But you know,
I get mixed up with letters.
It'd be like if you think Bevmo is like, oh yeah, I went to this bar, Bevmo.
Anyway, guys, what I'm drinking tonight, and none of this stuff that I mentioned is a sponsor. That place on Altamont Ave is not a sponsor. Neither is any of these drinks, but they all.
No joke. I was thinking of reaching out to them because they've reached out to me on my podcast before.
Good.
Nice.
I was in there today.
We have a weekly show, and we're frequently buying shit from there, and we're telling people where to get these things. Blah blah blah. Yeah, holla at your boys. Give us a little discount or something. Anyway, I'm drinking a Jack Daniel's cocktail. This is a watermelon punch. Surprise, surprise. I have no idea how it tastes yet. I have not tried it yet.
I think I seen an ad about that recently. Jack Daniel's is coming out with some crazy shit now.
Yeah, they have like a berry one that was good. I had that about a month ago, I believe. But no fancy wine tonight, guys.
No stoop wine?
No, I have 2 bottles of it, but maybe next week.
He's like, I gotta switch it up.
Yeah.
No, since you mentioned Uptown Beverage, I popped in there today, did a little beer run while I was out and about, and I picked up 2 4-packs. But what I'm drinking right now is some Equilibrium out of Lower New York, some Tomorrow Next Day Pale Ale. In, of course, my freshly cracked popcorn and pints pint glass here.
Popcorn and pints.
Had it for like a week and a half.
Yeah, you shipped one to California, and that one is in better shape than what I've had.
And I'm right around the corner.
Yeah. And you hand delivered it from around the corner.
Hand delivered. Yes,
got a little bit of vodka in here.
Oh, there you go. Look, he's drinking straight.
Oh, it's just hard liquor from a pint glass. Nice.
Yeah. So I was thinking about doing that too, and I was like, my crazy ass will fill the whole thing all the way to the top.
Oh.
So right now.
That's how you roll, you know.
I've poured an entire.
I can roll like that.
Oh, yeah, I've filled a glass with Red Bull and put in Jägermeister before. I mean,
yeah,
Red Bull
I used to do it back in the day. I just don't want. I just don't want to get errand.
Okay, you know? Does anyone here like the taste of Jaeger? Because I actually don't mind it.
I can do shots of it. No,
it's black licorice. Aaron hates it. You don't like black licorice.
Yeah, I feel like that's a love it or hate it. Like, there's no in between. There's no like, it's like, but does everyone take it cold or?
I prefer it cold.
Yeah,
I prefer it cold too.
It's better. It's better cold. Yeah.
I don't think of it as black licorice though. I don't know why, but sambuca.
It's
I think
kind.
like a licorice.
Zambuca is like 100%, but
Yeah, and
it
I
has
want
like a hint of it.
Sambuca. When I smell it, I just want to throw up. If I'm
Yeah.
within 100 yards, I'm gonna vomit. I had one bad experience with it, and that was enough.
You can use that shit as glue.
Yeah, you can probably burn down fucking anything you want with
Yeah.
sambuca.
You can use that as like a Molotov cocktail and just like light it.
We got a couple messages, guys, before we say cheers. Henry said, "What's up, fellas?" Jed said he loves this movie.
Cool.
And seeing as how I'm the only one who will say it, Darker Aaron said, "Yo, what's up, fellas?" So what's up, everybody? How's everybody doing?
All right.
Hello, Darker.
All right. Before we cheers, I got
Phil.
coffee.
Yeah.
With my peanut butter whiskey, and I got my shot glass, so I'll probably take some shots too.
Awesome.
All right, now you can go on.
Let's just go up with everybody. We got our popcorn and pints glasses. Cheers.
Cheers, fellas.
Drink.
He yelled out drink like it's a drinking game. Drink.
What's going on, Lighter Aaron? First off, we didn't know that Lighter Aaron was watching, so we couldn't have
Oh no,
heard
Darker.
to it.
Oh, Darker Aaron.
Or Darker Aaron.
Yes.
We have lighter Aaron. Darker Aaron is watching.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now I'm embarrassed.
It's okay. It's the Aarons.
Cheese
What's
and
up,
cracker. Cheese and crackers are feeling a little.
Left out.
So has anyone else actually seen this movie before, or is this
Nope.
the first time for
Dude.
This is the first time I seen it. I thought I seen it, but I guess I didn't. I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And I'm looking at like, none of this looks familiar. None of this don't look familiar at all.
Yeah.
Listen, I've heard so many when we talked about doing a randomizer and selecting like 10 movies each to put in this. I've been wanting to watch Krul for so long, more as a joke than anything, because for years I've heard the references and jokes to like this 80s underground cult film, but I've never brought myself to watch it until I've watched it 1.5 times in the last 2 days.
I've seen it like back in the day, like when you had HBO with like 20 channels and like, you know, Showtime with 20 channels. I saw it on one of those just like watching as a kid, probably like in the 90s.
I never
it definitely still like the glaive always stuck with me. It's just like interesting but weird. There's a lot of cool stuff, but like they kind of jammed so many things together in this movie that doesn't work, I think.
For one, that's the first time I ever seen a movie like that, like back in that time era where the main weapon is not like some power sword. It's a fucking ninja star / butter knives. It's like, I don't even know what the fuck.
It's basically like a boomerang. It's like
it's a boomerang with blades.
Yeah, it's a boomerang with blades. That's also kind of sentient. It kind of does what it wants.
And it finds out that's not even the main powerful weapon. It's them all along, and he gets his fucking blowtorch hand.
Yeah, yeah.
When I say that, I yelled out "Flame on!" I was like, "Flame on!"
Dude, the hand is how it was. Remember in the beginning where he's getting married to the princess?
Oh, and their love first meeting right there. They're in love. Yeah,
their love with the fire in the water and how she gave the fire. I thought that was pretty dope. How they tied that into the movie later on. They go to, you know, how movies. And again, I have no fucking. I don't have any ideas. Like I can't think of a movie. I don't have any examples. That's what I'm looking for. But you know, how movies will throw something in there that could be real huge in the beginning, and then they don't even reference back to it. You're just like, what the?
Yeah,
fuck?
it's like a foreshadow.
Dude, there's no reference of like magic in this movie at all whatsoever until and then, you know, all of a sudden the guy has a blowtorch hand at the end to defeat the main.
It was the worst fucking I don't even know. It was the CGI back then. What would you call that? Where it looked like someone had a lighter, the flame was just flickering, and it wasn't even on his hand, it was like on the side of it.
So
it's like this, or like he's trying to make believe like it's under. I'm like,
we got some really quick, guys. We got some comments.
Aaron went green again.
Cheers, fellas. What'd you say?
You went green again. Cheers.
Oh. Dad said cheers to us, so I guess I'll say cheers to you. Take a drink.
Damn, that shit's good.
He also said Krul starring Liam Neeson.
Yep. Starring. He's not starring.
Yeah, he's just in the movie.
That blew my mind when I saw his name in the credits, and then I spent the first hour trying to figure out which one was him. And then by the time I had it pinned down, I'm like, really? Holy
And the thing
shit.
is, he had some age on him back then, and that was what, 84?
Dude,
I'm like,
83.
damn,
He always looked
how
old.
old is this dude?
Like he always looks old, you know.
It's like 170.
Like some people, they look old from like birth, like that.
Yeah. I'm like, holy shit.
Parents. How old is he? 6? He looks 70.
Yeah.
The fucking dudes.
We got
Who, Liam Neeson?
Yeah. Thad
I don't
also said the black eyes freaked him out when he was a kid. Chris said the Cyclops freaked him out as a child.
Oh,
I can
let's
see
get,
that.
Let's get on. Okay, I got a comment.
Cyclops
about
was
the
cool.
Cyclops.
I like the Cyclops.
Okay, the only thing
He
I
was-
have wrong with it, here's my opinion about him. It looked like a Native American with one. They made a Native American as a Cyclops, and his specialty is he runs, he throws a spear, same move every time. Then he comes running through the forest. He's like, no, it's a trap. Then he just throws a spear again. I'm like, that's all he does is just throws a spear across fucking town. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is this dude?
Yeah, yeah.
They-
yeah.
But he gets crushed by doors. I thought that was pretty cool.
Liam Neeson is 68 years old.
Jesus Christ. And he's still doing action.
And he looks
movies?
the same as he does in this movie.
He does, just slightly fewer
Slightly
wrinkles.
older, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Slightly fewer wrinkles. But yeah, I mean, I think you're definitely spot on, James, about like the centaur dude or whatever, like the Cyclops being a Native American guy.
Like, same clothes and everything.
Yeah,
I'm like-
totally. Yeah.
So
And creepy stalking, winking. Like the one dude, he's like,
Yeah.
So- one of the
Last 2 comments really quick before we dive in a little bit more. Chris, did you freeze?
no,
Oh,
I was reading
He was
something.
waiting for you to.
That was.
okay.
No.
Krul
I'm
is
gonna. You know what? I'm gonna randomly pretend to freeze throughout
No,
this
yeah,
and see
like-
and see what happens.
In the middle of a sentence, you're like, yeah, you guys.
holy shit. Anyway, Peter Anthony said Krul is one of his favorite movies ever. He played
Yes.
the game, and yes,
Wow.
yes, the board game as well. If you watch the movie Silent Night, Deadly Night, the board game is in the back. It's on the shelf behind Billy. He said Cyclops. He said the Cyclops was badass. When he had to sacrifice himself, he said he almost cried, and he just watched this like 5 minutes. He just finished this movie. Peter Anthony's like Diesel,
Well,
like this.
to be fair, I watched this today as well. So
I watched it
good
yesterday.
thing to.
Oh yeah, I watched it last night and then I got through. I watched like half of it again today.
There's a lot of good stuff in this movie, but it's like 3 different. So like you have these creatures, like the things in the black suits or whatever that are shooting
Basically,
lasers.
aliens.
Yeah, aliens that are
Slayers.
shooting lasers.
The Slayers.
But
The
then it's also
Slayers.
this fantasy movie. It's like, okay, you gotta choose. Either they need to be the Urukai, or they need to be fucking aliens. You
No,
can't
this-
give me both. Okay.
This movie was a little bit all over the place. Like it was
Yeah.
described as a sci-fi swashbuckler film. You could see those
Yeah.
elements of pirates. You could try to mix with, the science fiction of Star Wars and these big sci-fi epics. And it was kind of a weird combination. Honestly, dude, I thought half this movie was just watching people travel landscapes.
Yep.
Like,
Go
it-
Rocks.
That's what a lot of Lord of the Rings is. People say Lord of the Rings is just people walking to a fucking Mordor.
It's true.
It is,
It
and
basically is.
I felt that. I felt so many different kinds of. I had flashes to so many other kinds of movies watching this movie. Like I had flashes to Lord of the Rings. I had flashes to Monty Python and the Holy Grail. When at the beginning, when Colwyn is coming up with his army, I was thinking of in Monty Python them, hopping through the forest, clicking the fucking coconuts together, making the noise, pretending to have horses for some reason.
Yeah. Because they couldn't afford horses. That was
Yeah.
And he climbs the mountain like a fucking, like it's with ease. We got these days where people got to use fucking ropes and anchors and shit like little pussies.
And those are some of the.
You know?
Like, do you think you could film a 2-hour? First off, I couldn't believe this movie was 2 hours.
Oh, it was long, yeah.
But wearing tight spandex pants that entire time. Those were some tight pants.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ridiculousness in this movie. But yeah, like you said, the swashbuckling, and it's like at the jump, it's like you got aliens, you got dudes that are like pirates. It's like Robin Hood from like the 30s. It's like, what the dude, you got to choose one lane movie.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I
Yeah.
want to be everything.
There was
It
a
is.
lot of stuff going on. And actually, Rel, the Cyclops, I was reading today. I don't know where I put it in the notes. So
I don't think I got the notes.
blame Aaron.
No, I sent it to the
Oh, they're on the Popcorn and Pints email, the Gmail.
What was
You have
it?
to
So
sign in for that, right? The credentials for it.
I'll have to check. I probably should.
If
Yeah,
not,
so-
I'll send it to the group chat. All right,
they
sorry.
basically plastered over the guy's eyes with that one single eye,
Mhm.
which obviously looking at the Cyclops' face, you can kind of see how it just goes around and covers
Yeah.
itself. That
It's
was
83, man.
remote controlled eye blinking. So the guy, the actor as the Cyclops, only at best had vision out of like he was only using one eye. And like that entire swamp scene, he was acting blind. So other actors were telling him where to go and trying to help him find his way.
Wow.
It's fucking crazy.
That stuff, it looked good though, like the one eye, like with the way they would blink and everything.
Yeah, it didn't
looked
matter.
good.
It was fucking creepy though. Yeah, but it looked like that was one of the highlights for me.
I just think it
And
needed a whole
honest-
new different outfit, man. Because to me, I was like, this is a fucking. They're making fun of Native Americans or something. So Native American fucking Cyclops.
I honestly,
I
didn't
know
even
it's kind
think
of
of
fun.
that.
Instead of getting an actual Native American person, like let's put them in a fucking Cyclops.
Yeah.
Put this
Jesus.
thing on their head, make them can't so we can't see shit. You know.
I mean, one of the story-wise, one of the things that really stood out to me is actually shockingly deep and like heartfelt was the story of the Cyclops.
Yeah.
Like they're born to know their death, and that's basically it. The
That's-
only
they
thing
made
they
the deal with the Krul.
yeah, I'm like, holy shit. Like that's great story right there, I think. Like they
And it-
can the only thing they see in the future is, when they're gonna die.
Yeah.
Like that's
And if you
pretty-
skip it, if you don't follow it, you die worse. And that's why he got crushed by the doors.
yeah.
The woman of
Oh.
the web.
The woman of the web. That scene right there, the spider. I honestly didn't like the spider. I thought they could have done a better job.
Stop motion.
Yeah, it was just weird. I'm talking about even the look of the spider. They could have made it more like,
Has anybody seen like Jason and the Argonauts from like the 80s?
yes, long time. Yep.
You remember that, right? With the skeletons?
Yep.
Yeah, that looked a lot better. I remember that as like I loved that fucking
Yeah,
movie as a kid.
I wasn't a fan of the
Stop.
spider scene.
I like the stuff where they were like crawling through the webs. That was kind of cool.
That was
The spider looked.
So fun
cartoon.
note on the actor that was climbing the web there to get to the lady of the webs or the lady of the spiders. No harness was used because they didn't think they'd be able to block out the harness. You would see the harness. So
Well, that's some brave shit right there.
yeah, he did that without a harness of any kind.
Right.
Well,
That's it.
how long would the fall have been?
I don't know. I couldn't find anything that would tell
It's like
me
a
how long the fall
foot.
was.
They made
Yeah.
it seem more dangerous. It's a foot
Yeah.
off the ground.
Yeah.
But no, that's crazy though, man. Hey, that's dedication right there. They're like, yo, listen.
But
He's
still,
like, I'll
still,
do it.
Aaron's been holding a bottle for a while. I think he
Yes.
wants to mention.
boom. Dos
Ah,
Equis,
Dos
Dos
Equis.
Equis.
I never had that either.
Amber.
Never tried it.
I don't know if I've had the amber. I've had the normal Dos Equis.
The green one, right?
Yeah.
Alyssa. Her name is Alyssa. The lady of the web, Alyssa.
Well, it's the same as the princess too. They got the same name.
Was it Alyssa or was it something that started with
Lissa. Just no
Lissa,
A.
yeah.
No A.
Alyssa?
Lissa.
So
Huh?
yes, so a king and queen are supposed to be married at the beginning to rule the world, and then I could tell right away when they mentioned the narrator, who's also the old man. There's always a wise old man that tells everyone what they need to do in these kinds of movies. The dialogue, the narrator at the beginning says their kid will rule the galaxy, kind of in passing. I'm like, so they clearly meant for there to be a sequel
Yeah.
at some time.
Hmm.
Where, after this, provided it didn't bomb at the box office, which it did, they have a child, and then I imagine the sequel would have been this child somehow coming of age and ruling the galaxy.
Yeah,
Obviously,
Doctor,
that never
Doctor
happened.
Who.
It would be like Dune or some shit. He's Paul Atreides.
So
Like-
I
Or
actually,
Flash Gordon.
Yeah, Flash Gordon.
I came across an article today. The Russo brothers, who made the Marvel movies, wanted to remake Krul. They want to remake Krul.
I would love
I
that.
say go for
Maybe
it.
maybe a Krul TV series.
Dude, Marvel published a 2-issue comic on Krul or something like that, and they want to take that and reboot it.
Krul has some really good ideas if you can streamline the story and the plot, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
And you
Like,
gotta.
I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it.
They need to change the glaive. They need to make that like make
Better
sense. Where
weapon?
dude's not
Yeah.
like holding on to some blade and he's like, "Oh, I cut myself."
Yeah.
Well, he was careful, guys. He held it like in between the blades. But we forgot to do this. Our early ratings. Like, what would you guys rate this movie from a -10 to a +10? How many glaives would you give this movie?
Yeah, this is 5 glaives for me. 5 glaives out of 10.
I'm going six glaives.
Okay.
I'm going 6 too.
I'm going 7 glaives.
I think I would like it better if I seen it when I was younger.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
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 Hell yeah.
Like when I saw this as a kid, I liked it for sure. There was still, again, there was things that didn't totally work for me or make sense for me. But I feel like it's one of those things I saw it and then my mind, like all the bad stuff just like went away. And all I remember was like the monster thing at the end. And then when he kills him and then when he actually uses the glaive, that's all I really remember from this film.
Yeah, all the good parts, like super, like he's a hero.
Or at least like my mind could like go like kind of where they wanted to go, but they couldn't because they didn't have the money and stuff. So I just like created my own like story about what it was. And I totally forgot about this movie for like 10 years. And I found it again. I was like, oh shit, I totally remember this movie. You know?
No, but I could definitely see the appeal if I had seen this as a kid. Watching this as an adult, I pick up on the stuff that really slows the story down. Like there's a lot of just scenic landscape scenes, a lot of people on horseback traveling. It is like a Lord of the Rings. Like, okay, I know the point of the fucking story. Stop showing me the in-between shit and get back to some cool stuff. Like, and it's fun. They had a budget of 30 million, which was a lot. And that's not what they planned for because the script kept going through so many changes because they couldn't fucking decide the direction they wanted to go in this movie. Like we mentioned
everything. They're like, fuck it, just put it all in.
So, and keep in mind, so the first Blade Runner movie that came out in the 80s had a budget of 40 million. To give you context of like how much that was for this time.
It was a lot. And the reason
lot.
it kept changing because they kept redoing the script because they really couldn't focus in on a single concept for the movie, whether it be sci-fi, swashbuckler. They had to change sets a number of times. Like a lot of this was going to be done on location. It ended up being done on lots.
Yeah. You could tell a lot of it was just done on a lot.
Yeah.
With like a matte painting in the background.
Yeah, it was one of the 007 lots. It was one of the biggest. I forgot.
Oh, in London?
Yeah, not even in. Was it London? Pine Hills or Pine something Studios? I don't remember. But it was filmed on the same lot as one of the more recent 007 movies, I think.
Nice.
But it was one of the biggest lots they had to the point where they couldn't heat the entire building. So that swamp scene is all done on a lot.
Yeah.
And, you have one guy dressed as a cyclops that can't see, so other actors are trying to help guide him. People are cold and wet. And I think even at one point, like one of the costume people was like, it did an interview in 2009 where even the director hated working on this movie. Like he thought of it as a fun challenge at the beginning and it eventually turned to hatred.
Wow.
It's kind of funny because that swamp scene, so the Neverending Story came out like the next year and it basically does the same thing but way better. This movie also does the ET scene like way worse, like a total ripoff when they're like on the horses flying and it's just like,
oh yeah, the fucking
the
fire feet horses.
Yeah.
And again, I thought that came out of nowhere because there's no mention of any kind of magic before that. All of a sudden they're on these giant Clydesdales and the feet are on fire as they're running. I'm like, what is going on?
Magic. There was that one dude that follows him who can turn himself into animals.
Okay, but still they didn't make it seem as common as this guy's going to have a fire fist at the end of the movie.
The Magnificent. He only had one trick, is to change forms. I thought he was going to have like save the day at the end. I thought he was going to have like some superpower. Like motherfucker's like, no, I'll turn into a tiger. Let's walk around with a little boy.
My favorite was when he turned into the basset hound. I'm like, oh, that's just adorable.
Did that for the little kid. How sweet.
Yeah, I feel like this movie is just like a compendium of like 80s like sci-fi fantasy tropes, but done poorly. There's a bunch of them that are done better in other movies.
your notes, you said Krul, their idea was it should have been a dragon. It was supposed to be a dragon. At first.
Oh yeah, so I think in the original drafts of Krul, it was going to be called the Dragons of Krul, and
It's a great title.
Yeah, the Dragons of Krul, and the demon at the end was going to be a dragon, but they changed it to a more reptilian type figure, and then just changed the name to Krul.
Peter gave us 7 glaives, and he said the horses are called fire mares. But the
Fire
mares.
Sorry.
That stuff is cool, but like I think Chris has a good point. They needed to have like that scene in Star Wars where he's like, oh yeah, the Force is this thing that binds all of us. They need to be like, there's magic and it binds everyone, and you have magic too.
Yeah, there was no explanation.
No one cares about.
You have a random character that shows up that can morph himself into an animal because he's too dumb to do it to other people. And then all of a sudden magic happens where you totally forget about that. And then you have these Budweiser Clydesdales, because that's what I think of when I see a Clydesdale.
Yes.
Good marketed on Budweiser's front.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Like I'm watching, I'm like, why the fuck are their feet on fire? Like, where's the fire coming from? And all of a sudden they can fly like they're When did they turn into unicorns?
Yeah,
like,
I know. Like, what the fuck?
You're thinking of a Pegasus.
Or Pegasus, yes.
Yeah, they're running normal horses. They got ropes to catch them. The horses would have seen them. They're like, why are we still running? Let's just fucking fly. Fuck these guys.
And when they're flying through the air, I did think never ending story. The smile on Liam Neeson's face.
Yeah.
All right, Chris, this one's for you. Anthony's in here. He said, hey, yo, do you have a special message for him?
Like, why the fuck is he not part of this? He watched Krul.
He can. I mean, Anthony, if you want to come on and send me a message, and I'll invite you to this right now. So that's Chris's message.
Well, what's funny, Neverending Story came out, I think later than this. Yeah. It came out the next year.
Yeah, 84 or something.
Yeah. So it did some of it, but I felt like that was very E.T. to me. That scene. It felt very much like E.T. when they're like on the bikes and then he's flying.
I could see the feeling they were going for.
But either way, it does it worse than the other movies, right? It just doesn't give us the same thing. It feels cheesy and like not good and like kind of like a ripoff. It just feels like it's not authentic.
No, and you're right. And part of it was I couldn't get over the fact that I'm looking at Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
And he's supposed to be 26, but he looks like he's 56.
Yeah, that dude looks old as shit there. I'm like, Jesus Christ. So speaking of the magic thing, now the Krul dude, the main villain, had powers where across the lands he could just fucking kill people on the spot. But when they get to the castle, this thing can only do shit to the dude. I'm like, what the fuck's he doing? He's just in there. He's standing there. That's it.
Dude shows up with the glaive, and then he busts the princess out. He waits like 20 minutes for this thing to open the door.
Yeah.
You know what? I thought about that. One of my favorite parts is he's just standing there with his arm out.
There. Yeah.
That's the whole scene for like
he's like using the force to like
10 minutes of the movie is him standing there with his arm out, waiting for this glaive to come back to him.
While his friends are literally about to die.
Yeah.
And then he busts her out, and then he sees the giant Krul thing, and then he just throws the glaive at it, and then it kind of dodges it, and he shoots this laser beam at him.
Basically, the glaive is just a fucking saw. It saws through the fucking walls. That's all it did.
Chris, Anthony said the kiddos are sleeping right now and need to keep it down.
He needs to abandon his family and do something productive.
Go in his dark, scary basement with a laptop.
Yeah.
And click on. Chris
misses you. That's why he has these outbursts, Anthony.
See, all I'm hearing are excuses.
Hear that? All he's hearing is excuses, Anthony.
I'm not gonna lie, I would play the game. What system was that on? Regular Nintendo? Atari? What was that?
Atari. They did an Atari. They had a board game, a card game, Atari game.
Dude, they were ready, man. They were doing the full marketing push, just everything, and then
honestly,
a fun game though. I mean, maybe later on, maybe even if you go up to like regular Nintendo or Super Nintendo, it'll be a fun game.
I think from what I could tell reading about this movie and what went on behind the scenes, it seemed like the studio was more pushing to make. The studio wanted a big sci-fi epic movie desperately. So they were out there just asking people if they had any ideas.
They wanted that Star Wars money. They were like, dude, there's got to be some other kind of thing we can do that's like this that can make us even half the money, because they were making so much money with those movies. and George Lucas was making so much money just selling toys, let alone the movies. It's like, dude, we need a slice.
For one, they should have, with the glaive, they should have fucking ripped off He-Man or something. Once he gets it, he turns into a big buff like Arnold Schwarzenegger comes in. And he's like, oh, I got the glaive.
Did you ever watch Thundercats? You ever watch that show?
Yeah, with the sword, yeah, he powers up.
Something like Thunder, like where it starts off one way and then it changes. Yeah.
Yeah, like that thing he's holding. He's like, what am I supposed to do to this? And it just turns into a like multi-weapon, like a sword, and he can turn it into a boomerang or something. But it's just a fucking it's a ninja star that comes back to you by using Star Wars.
Yeah. It's literally a ninja star boomerang, and it's also, I don't know, it's just something about it just doesn't totally work.
No, I don't. I know it's gonna be great. I was waiting for the weapon too, because the guys were talking about like, oh, the glaive. I'm like, what the fuck is this glaive? I'm like, this thing better be badass. And I just see him cutting down doors.
It's just a portable saw. That's all.
Dude, and then what's so I remember this as a kid. I was like, because like, so he basically kills the thing with the glaive, and then the glaive won't come back to him. Mm-hmm. It's just gone. That's it. It's gone. And I'm like, what the fuck? You like I bought into this movie because I wanted to see the glaive, and then it's gone. And then he becomes, like the Human Torch. It's like, okay, all right.
You want to know why they did that? Because if a sequel did come out, the son, I bet the thing comes out of the thing comes back alive. Mm-hmm. That's what's keeping the thing dead. It's in him.
Yeah.
It comes out. Someone takes it out. They're like, oh, what's this? It's going to pull it out like the sword and the stone. And the fucking thing's going to come alive.
Fellas.
And then the son is supposed to.
Yeah,
I can make a part. Hey, let's make part 2, guys.
Fellas.
That should be where they start the remake, is with the son. Don't redo this. Start with the son and his path.
Yeah.
Hey, I think we just wrote Krul 2.
I think so. Oh, Rayman. Oh, no, we fucked up. No, they already did it. The son is fucking Star-Lord from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, dude, like I said, Marvel put out a Krul comic. What if they made that Star-Lord's father?
Yo.
Well, they already his dad's a planet, Ego.
Yeah.
But just for shits and giggles.
I don't know how his. By the way, I don't know how his human mom took it from a planet. She must be.
She took it. The other day I was watching. It was Alexander, the Alexander movie that Oliver Stone did. There's like 4 versions, and basically there's a 3.5 hour version, and there's a scene in the 3.5 hour version where like basically Angelina Jolie plays the mom, and the mom's like, oh yeah, his father's Zeus and all this other shit, and it's like, how the fuck could his father be Zeus? And then she has this great line, because she was like, yeah, because like when I before I had him, I got fucked like I've never been fucked before.
Wow. Jesus.
I just thought that was so funny that she totally just went there.
He got fucked by a lightning rod.
Yeah, exactly. Like a lightning bolt came and it just went right into me.
Shit.
So yeah, that's basically what happens when you have sex with a planet.
Yeah,
it feels like that.
It's good. Yeah. Good advice and good to know.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, one of the this movie had a lot. Of course, it was a bomb when it came out. It had a lot of mixed criticisms and things like that, even throughout the years as it became a cult classic. But it's funny because the most criticized thing about it was the writing, and you notice this as just watching through. But I put a fun quote in the notes from someone that was trying to describe the writing, and it was, we're constantly told that there's one way to do something and that it's very dangerous. And then when the characters fail to do it, there's suddenly another way, like out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And that is also very dangerous. And if that fails, you can bet there will be yet another way to do the thing that was originally only one way to use. Yeah.
So there's a lot of plot issues.
Yeah, they keep referencing that there's only one way to do something, and then they can't do it because something happens, and like all of a sudden, out of nowhere, there's another way we can do this.
Yeah,
that's how it happens, man.
It's a workaround.
All the time.
Fixes.
Yeah, I can see why. It's just like there's nothing this movie does that's unique to the genre that makes you like, oh yeah, this movie did this really great. It's just a smorgasbord of different fantasy sci-fi tropes strung together.
This is another movie. Like, what did we review the other night, James? That we said would have made a better, like Netflix or TV series.
Oh, it was Sleepwalker, Stephen King.
No. It wasn't. It was the movie before that. The Wolf of
The Wolf of
Snow Hollow.
Snow Hollow. That's it.
That's what I mean. Way different types of movies. Why I'm going back to that is we said that movie would have been better as like a 3-episode miniseries. And I feel this movie right here, because there was like so many different things going on. Even though I did enjoy this movie, I think it would have been better off as like a TV series, or if they ever did reboot it, like you guys are saying how not Netflix, Marvel wanted to reboot it. I think it would make a great TV series because there's so much shit that happens. You can have like 5 or 6 seasons with it and learn like the whole story. You can learn about a lot of these characters, so you can kind of get a feel for them. Because yes, it was a 2-hour movie, but for me, it was a fast 2 hours, and like you didn't really get too much character development to where you really cared about certain characters to care like what happens. You're just like, I just want to know what the fuck happens in this movie in general, but you really didn't get that feel for these characters for this type of movie. So
no, you're right. It was a lot. It seemed like a lot of traveling between the main points of the story.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just to advance the story. And then all of a sudden there were all these aspects that were referenced, but not enough time was spent on trying to deep dive into anything.
Yeah.
Like the glaive's at the top of this mountain. The person worthy enough can reach it. If not, you'll die.
That he didn't second.
And he easily gets it.
In lava.
And
He puts
he
his
easily
hand in lava.
He puts his hand in the lava, he easily gets it.
And that was another thing. I'm like, was that even lava? Because it looked like gel. It doesn't look like it was on fire, but he goes to reach his hand in and there's fire.
Oh, that
But
was
it's like-
it was watered down Jello. It had to be.
Yeah, it looked like just clear gel just
Yeah.
moving along. I'm like, that's like, I thought it was supposed to be lava, but I'm like, this doesn't, even in 1983, it looks like you could convey lava better than they did, if that's what
Much better than this movie did. Yeah, much better.
But you gotta think of the budget as well, though.
It's 30 million. But I feel like that I feel like in the budget you could find a better way to convey lava. Red liquid instead of just a clear gel.
Especially if it's the most powerful, it's like the main weapon of the whole thing he has to try to get. They should at least put a little bit more money to make that scene right, at least.
How much could that have been? A couple $100 at that point?
Yeah. You
To
just have
color
to go
the gel
fucking,
red.
yeah, you just have to go to the supermarket and get a whole bunch of fucking Jello, cherry flavor.
Mm-hmm.
That was
plus-
part of the reshoots.
Plus,
That's why it didn't look good.
plus the fact that he showed no signs of pain whatsoever
Nothing.
reaching in there.
Put his
for the
hand in
blade.
there.
But
It's
this,
like, whoa.
Chris, this goes back to your point. Like the reason probably was there's some magical,
Exactly.
like literally it's magic. It's literal magic. He's a
if he
magical
turns into
being.
flame fist later on.
And so,
Yeah, that
but they
explains
don't.
why the heat don't bother him.
Yeah, but they don't
The heat doesn't
explain it.
bother.
They don't
explain it.
I guess that's the reason, the real thing, right? Is like he's a fire element, and so when he touches other fire elements, it doesn't hurt him. But they don't explain that.
I mean, if you're
And
gonna
it doesn't. The other thing too is like there's times when a movie doesn't explain things, but we're like we're led to understand or at least be curious. That none of that happens here. We're not like curious about why.
Oh no.
We're like the fuck.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't
It's like,
understand why.
and I saw somebody describe it as if somebody from a different planet watched an Earth movie, and there were just cars in the background, and a car happens to be a main plot point, but this person's from another planet. They don't know what the fuck cars are. It's like magic in Krul. Like, is this guy some kind of fire element now? Like, there's magic there. I don't know where the fuck it comes from, why it's there, how it happened.
No, and the thing is she a water element? Because the second part of it is like with water, but she didn't use no special power.
Yeah, she
didn't,
reaches
put a
into
sprinkler
water.
on.
Yeah, she reaches into water and pulls out a cheap CGI hand of fire.
Yeah. She's like, here you go.
Have this.
Yep, take this. And
Romantic,
then that's his whole thing. He was getting paid, putting his hand out for a half hour, a
Yeah.
flamethrower.
Yeah.
It's just
By the way, like I was saying, the actors. This isn't
Flame Fist. Flame
Flame
Fist is
Fist.
his superhero name.
This isn't Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford. These are some not great actors in the leads. Not great at all. And that also doesn't help this movie, that there's no chemistry.
No.
Yeah.
And actually,
no charisma. It's just like flat, super flat. The acting's super flat.
so the voice for Princess Liza, was that her name? Liza? I don't even remember. Lissa.
Lisa.
Lissa.
That's it.
So that wasn't the actress's original voice. She was dubbed over because she had a British accent. She was dubbed over by an American actress.
Okay,
Why not just put the American
So,
actress in? Unless she had
yeah.
like a butterface.
So the studio
butter
thought
voice.
the studio thought that would be a better sell. American actress voice.
Okay.
Even
All
though
right.
so all her lines were dubbed over. As well, actually, you know who else was dubbed over? The squad of outlaws there, the heavier set guy with the mustache, Robbie Coltrane, is the actor. His voice is dubbed over. He's a popular British comedian. He also played Hagrid in the Harry Potter movies. Because
Yes,
I knew
that's
as soon as
Hagrid,
I
yeah.
saw that name. But he also looks so out of place amongst the outlaws. He looks like just a fat guy straight off the couch after eating chips. He's got that porn mustache. I'm like,
He looks like
dude,
Farba.
he does look like Farva. That was one of my thoughts. He looked like someone they pulled off the side because they needed an extra body to fill out one of these extra outlaw characters.
Yeah. Look like a mechanic.
Yeah.
Look like I'll fix your horses.
It's like, yeah, my horse is not flaming up. Like, can you fix it?
Yeah.
Here comes Tom Green.
My horse is on fire.
It blew a piston. Hold on, let me fix that. So, oh man.
Yeah, so the main
some reason I didn't hate it though, because I think in my head, like, if I watched this when I was younger, I was like, this probably would have been really good to me.
Yeah.
No. I have no doubt this was up your alley as a kid. It's at this point, watching it as an adult for the first time, I have this image in my head. I've cultivated the knowledge of knowing it's a cult classic. I've seen and heard references and jokes about it for years. So I had an idea of what it was going into it, which I think helped. If I was just watching this out of nowhere, never having heard about it, I probably would have given it certainly like a 3 or something like that.
Yeah.
Just right off the bat, I'm like, this is fucking awful. But it actually it actually has a cultural significance.
I like it. Like I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I really did enjoy it, and I was just like, I don't know, because I watched it the one time, and then like Chris was saying, I watched it 1.5 times. I watched it the one full time, like started it the other day, then finished it today, and I just went back and played it back again. Maybe listened to about a half hour of it while as I was, setting up for the show and doing stuff. And I can honestly say I would watch this movie again. Not right away. Like it would be a little bit while. It would be a little while down the road, and I wouldn't have to do another podcast to watch. I'd actually watch this movie again. It would take a few months, maybe even a year, honestly, but it's something that I can see myself going back to. I did enjoy it. It's not something that I can say I loved, so to speak, but it was definitely a fun movie. Definitely a fun film.
Yeah, it was middle of the road for me, and honestly, I liked it better than I thought I would. I thought it would be worse than it was, even though you can clearly see. I mean, they were going for the top of what they could do in 1983 when it came to special effects, and you can still see that. Definitely, the scenes towards the end after they're fighting the monster, the beast. They're standing in front of a screen. You can basically see the outline around them.
Yeah. Totally. It's like him, and then there's like a glow around him, and then there's the background. But hilarious.
I'm like, even that, I'm like, this doesn't take me out of it. It kind of adds to the encampment of it for me because I know what I'm supposed to be watching.
Yeah. So it didn't bother. Yeah, same here. It didn't bother me too much because it's like, okay, it's from the 80s. It's, I know it's a $30 million budget, but you can only do so much then with technology and all that shit. Not bad. Fun film. What is this? Red's Hard Apple Peach.
You were just burning through your drinks, aren't you?
Yeah, he's just mixing them all up.
I know.
Got all different types going on.
So
I'll be all right.
So we had an over-under. We got to set the time limit here on when Aaron's just going to randomly disappear. How long has it been? We're going on about 40 minutes or so, 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I think Aaron disappears at an hour 20.
If he keeps this pace, maybe, but it's not as bad as hard liquor. 100 proof liquor is totally different.
This will be because I have to pee, not because I have to go vomit.
As of right now, I think I still had more than him. Like I had like a coffee with like at least 3 shots in it, and I had like 3 shots.
James is getting hyper drunk.
I'm getting errand.
Yeah.
So we can change that to the next person's name.
I had 4. I mean, I had 4 or 5 beers before we started, so I'm feeling pretty good.
No, I can be trash and I still act the same. I might talk more though. That's
Hey,
all I get. I turn into a chatterbox.
Oh man.
I do really feel like these are the kind of films that you want to remake. Like if
Yes.
if you are going to remake something like
I
from
think they can do way better. Even
Yeah.
the creature, I think they can buff him up and do more than just stand there.
I'm gonna
Like,
take
yeah,
a pee break
Like
myself.
if he could turn into a form of a person like behind her, like I could look like him. Why didn't he do that at the end? He just stayed his giant size and just stood
Yeah,
there
he's-
swinging back and forth.
yeah, it did literally nothing other than shoot
Nothing.
lasers at him.
Nothing. That's it. And that's another thing. For one, that movie should have been over in the beginning. They had lasers, people. They had swords. They could stay in a distance and just keep shooting lasers at the
Shoot at
castle.
him. Yeah,
That's it.
yeah. There's a lot, there's just like, again, it's a mix of too many things. Like you can't have the space aliens shooting lasers and people
Yeah.
swashbuckling. Like it's like the fuck? No, that can't work in this universe. Unless it's like Star Wars and they got a fucking laser sword, right?
Yeah.
Then it's like, okay, like I can deflect your laser beam.
I agree. It's
But,
like
yeah.
that's where I think that's where someone corrected me, like when we were talking about the last popcorn points. I said it was like a space fucking like Star Wars type movie because I never seen it. I was guessing. And I think this is the part I remember I seen a clip of it reminded me of Star Wars. I'm like, basically they're aliens, so it is kind of space. So they're aliens that took over Earth. I want to say it's Earth. It might be Middle Earth. I don't know what the fuck.
Yeah, Midgar or something, some other.
Yeah, so they were aliens. It just didn't take place into space. And it was a lizard dude and his army of slayers that looked like knights armor, kind of mixed with Doctor Who, the droids or something, or the fuck are those things in Doctor Who. And I'm like, and they land, they automatically know about horses and they know how to ride them.
Yeah.
Like they got lasers. You tell me you don't have a
Yeah,
monster
flying
truck
car.
or something or something, a spaceship or
Yeah.
another floating rock.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
Silver
yeah,
Surfer.
yeah. Like their his palace or whatever, which moves around, is this massive thing, but they don't have anything like that.
Nothing. He could break off little rocks and they can all stand on one and just float. I don't get it. It was pretty cool how it changes spots every time though.
Yeah.
I thought that part was cool. Like, oh, where is it? I don't know. It just you can't attack us. We're the strongest force in the world, but we still try to hide.
Yeah.
There's a lot of plot holes, man. Like, and that's the thing. I wish I watched it younger because, like Chris said, you watch it now. That's the first thing your eyes notice is the fucking plot holes, the stupidity parts, and you don't enjoy like the.
No,
Like
this was
the child part of it. The fantasy.
you miss out on the childlike wonder that
yes.
this probably caused in 1980.
The spectacle and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, for example, same thing. When I was younger, I was obsessed with He-Man. So when the Masters of the Universe movie came out, I watched it when I was a kid, and I was like, "Yo, this shit is awesome." I bet if I watch it now, I've never seen it since. I'm gonna be like, "Why the fuck did I like this?" I have a feeling like I can't remember if it's good or not. It's been so long. So that's another movie I'm going to have to watch again because I'm sure it's like cheesy as
Put that
hell.
shit on the list, James.
Dolph Lundgren.
Did I put it on the list?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I should have. I didn't think about it at the time, but I was really obsessed with He-Man and Skeletor and shit back in the day.
You'll get another crack at it for sure.
Yeah, I'll get another crack.
Get another pop at it.
But that's another thing that kind of reminded me of too. They had like a little bit elements, like I said, with the glaive. Like I was waiting for him to yell, "I have the power," and just turn buff and shit, and have like the dude turn into a tiger, but he turns into the battle cat and he rides him. Not in that way, Aaron.
No. I'm not laughing. Not that.
He has a wife, and she's the spirit of water, so she gets wet a lot. So
I like where you went with that one.
yeah, I know, right? Like a little twist. Play on words, man.
I like where you went with
But
that.
I still didn't mind it. That's why I gave it a 6.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, they just try to do so much stuff that they try to fit into this 2-hour movie that if it was more focused, they could have really put together a well-conceived story to follow. Like, first off, there's too much fucking traveling. There's too many fucking
Way too
landscape
much.
shots.
And they're traveling distance with two old, one's blind, like old as hell. They're both like old.
Like every time I look at the screen, it's a landscapes or someone's on a horse.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Or at least if you're gonna do it, like the reason why it works in the Lord of the Rings is that there's the one story of Sam and Frodo, but then there's like the other story.
Yeah,
where,
they kick back to the different part of it.
Yeah, where there's
with
another
the king and shit, and,
where they're fighting a fucking war.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and it's a lot more grounded, and it's like, okay.
But if it was just them walking through the woods, and the only thing they had to worry about was the dude behind them going, "My precious."
Yeah,
I'm sure people like shut this shit down.
That's a terrible movie. That's a terrible movie. It's like two dwarfs and a crackhead running through the woods. Fuck that. I don't want to watch that movie.
Two dwarfs and a crackhead. I would watch that movie. Just off that title alone. You gotta watch it at least twice.
Aaron, I can see you watching it too. Like if they made a parody of it, it was like two actual little people, like two dwarves, and they had a crackhead, and they did a movie. Aaron would be like, "Yo, I'm in."
I need that precious. Give it to me for a minute, please.
It's played by Dave Chappelle.
Oh my god. Okay, now I'm watching. Like just thinking of Dave Chappelle and then make him look like fucking
Tyrone Biggums.
No, they make him look like Gollum, but it's like Tyrone Gollum. You know?
He just is scratching his neck.
Like Gollum, but where
got my precious.
The shit.
Y'all got any more precious?
There you go, guys. Another movie we just created.
Yeah, shit.
Or at least a skit. That'd be a great.
Yeah, skit. Yeah. People are watching this right now. They're gonna steal our ideas.
Yeah, why aren't we on a bankroll?
Yeah, I know, right? Jesus.
We need to be part of some brain trust somewhere. You know.
But I mean,
Marvel,
just that mountain climbing scene where the
oh, that took forever, man. With the rocks coming down. That was like the longest scene
where he's
ever.
in that avalanche. I'm like, how is this still going on? Him just climbing the mountain by himself.
Yeah. Yeah. That part, I was like,
it's creating fake tension. That's the problem. It's like I know he's gonna be fine. Like
I had more tension holding the turd. I had to take a shit at the time.
Like we're 30 minutes into the movie and he's the main character. I get the sense he's gonna make it through this.
Yeah, I just don't understand. They agreed about the marriage, and when she was getting kidnapped or something, and they're talking. They're like, "Do you love me?" She's like, "Yeah, I do. I just seen you. Like, I just met you a half hour ago. I love you."
Yeah, there was no real backstory. It seemed like it was almost an arranged marriage. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they're like, I made the right choice. I made the right choice. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Which is another like fucked up kind of thematic thing. It's like, yeah, maybe arranged marriages are good.
Yeah, no, right. You're like, hey, it worked for them.
Right.
Something
Listen
I thought
to your parents when they tell you to marry that smart girl who's ugly.
Something I thought of today. Like both their fathers died, and there's no mention of that or even sign that they care afterwards.
No, he did for a second when he looked at his father. He was like,
yeah, but then he just went on with the. There was no mention of it after he set out to go save her.
Yeah, there's a lot of movies like that. I noticed that too. I'm like, okay, you don't.
I mean,
like that one movie. I think it might have been a horror movie me and Aaron reviewed, where it was like, perfect example, Thanksgiving. All the friends and shit die. The father dies, and they're at the end. They're like, oh, we're saved, and they're sitting down. Let's watch a movie, and they sit on the couch and watch a movie. They're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Even though my parent died, I'm glad I have a girlfriend. Even though my parents died right now,
I might have sex tonight.
My parents may be dead, but I have a girlfriend now.
Yeah, we're watching a movie. We just went on a date after trying to almost getting killed by a fucking turkey.
No. I may have lost my parents today, but I gained a girlfriend or something like that. That was, I think.
That's what this reminded. It's like that. It's like, what the fuck is going on? No one cares that your father died.
Really? Or something. Darker Aaron, his name is Dreams on Twitch, but he said Darker Aaron said that's why the movie is 2 hours long, because all the shit that was compiled for this movie, like a whole bunch of walking around going on.
Yeah, they could have cut a lot of that down. Like even the rock scene, if they took off like a minute of it, because that shit was long, it would have been better. Like the scenery when they're walking, if they cut that fucking back a little bit, this movie could have been an hour 20. You could say hour and a half.
I mean, they could have easily trimmed off some of the travel scenes out of this movie.
Just explain why they got there so quick. Like, dude, some movies put on the bottom a day later.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
day later.
A
Now
day
they're
later,
over here.
and then they're at the fucking place, and we don't need the Clydesdales.
We don't need all that shit.
Yeah,
Because it wasn't really exciting. They were sitting there, they're like, someone knew. Hey, a whole bunch of fucking Clydesdales are coming flying around the corner soon. Let's set up a trap. But like, we don't need to see that part unless it was something really special that was going to stand out, like the build up to it or something. But they could have cut that shit out. I didn't give a fuck about some. I didn't know they were flying at first. I thought they were running normal like horses, but then all of a sudden they got a jump start and their feet turned on fire and they just ran real fast like the Flash.
Dude, that was some of the most fake looking horse riding I've ever seen.
Christ.
Just did you see it? Just the fake background behind them looks so fake as they were on a horse. Like, I wish I could have been in the studio when they were filming that. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we found out those were like mechanical horses that they were on.
Oh man, horses don't mess around with horses. Like, those things they'll kick you, they'll bite you. Yeah. They're expensive, they're crazy. Yeah. I mean,
they're the only thing in the world that beat Superman.
It's true.
I gotta throw that in there.
Well, also there was the thing.
Rest in peace.
When we were talking about
after that he was only scared of stairs.
We're talking about Batman, and what's her name? Sean Young fell off that horse. That whole, like, I got into a rabbit hole on that thing. That was a whole, because apparently they wanted her to she got on the horse for the movie for Batman. Like they got her on the thing and then she fell off, and then they immediately got rid of her because Tim Burton didn't like her. And then she was thinking about suing them, but then she was like, I'm not going to sue because, basically they'll blacklist you. And then
facts.
Yeah. And then she did this crazy fucking appearance where she was like the 60s campy Catwoman, like saying, "Oh, I should be Catwoman," like on the Joan Rivers show from like the early 90s. And it's just like, whoa, this woman is like way out there.
Lost it. Lost it.
Dude, she's like, she was out there, man. Like, wow. Totally something. Anyway, back to Krul.
I watching some of the first scenes where they're getting together for the wedding there, and they're showing all the knights around the castle. I thought their armor looked like cheap Iron Man Halloween costumes.
Yes, outside.
Yeah, like the knights from the castle of the future queen's castle.
Yeah.
I'm like, are they wearing like the cheap off the rack Iron Man costumes that you would see a little kid wear? Because that's kind of what they reminded me of.
It was definitely that material. It was like that plastic fucking mask. And when they just turn sideways. They look at each other and they just turn back. Oh yeah, definitely. That shit was so cheap looking.
It's so crazy. There's so many things in this that look hella cheap, but it's had a huge budget relatively.
Yeah, man. For 1983, it was a huge budget. And again, the budget skyrocketed because they couldn't decide on an actual direction for the tone of the movie.
Yeah, and another thing they didn't explain either. Oh, sorry to cut you off because it was in my mind, the armor. So the Slayer, same thing, the armor. But when one died, it looked like something came out of him and buried itself in the ground. They don't explain what the fuck that was.
So it's some kind of like alien worm or something like that. But yeah, but they don't describe it in the movie.
So it's like a parasite? What is it? Are they parasites?
They look like parasites, and honestly, the way they go into the ground, you don't think they're dead at all. You think they could just reanimate themselves as anything. Yeah. There's literally no background story to it.
And that's where the movie Tremors come from.
But they don't. But the problem is, like, it's one thing to like show that, right? So it'd be fine if we see that, and then later like one of them comes out of the ground, attack someone. Like, okay, then at least I understand what's going on. But it's like
some kind of lizard, like a lizard creature, because they turn into like a lizard alien. So
or something that looks like the Krul, right? It looks like a baby
Krul.
Yeah,
something. I noticed
they
that
don't
part.
explain
I'm like, what the fuck? No, nothing. They don't explain shit.
No, and that's what this movie was. It was it felt like a lot of endpoints with no explanation to those endpoints.
Yeah. Oh, then he had a special one. They changed shapeshifters. They're like the special high ranked one. They're like, this one can change forms.
Where he takes over the sea as the seer.
The seer.
Green, yeah.
And the woman, the beast, one woman that was trying to
one of the beast's weapons.
Yeah. So cheesy. But whatever.
It's very 80s. This is a very 80s movie.
Oh hell yeah.
Oh, it is. And like I said, if it was more focused and then more planned out, and they wanted to cover some background into these, I really think they could have put together some kind of franchise here.
Yeah,
Possibly.
But again, it felt like the studio really just wanted to put out a big sci-fi epic to make money.
Did any of these like Star Wars ripoff movies ever work? I don't think any of them worked.
I don't think so.
I think none of them worked. Like literally zero. Like maybe some were like okay, but none of them were like actually good.
Huge
Spaceballs.
Yeah, but that's
okay.
That's like basically doing Star Wars, but like
Parody.
as a spoof.
Parody,
Yeah, like
as
a
a
spoof.
When did Spaceballs come out?
1988. I'm making that up. I have no idea.
Oh, you
I
son
don't
of a
know.
bitch.
It could be, honestly. I don't know. Or the early 90s. Is the Ghostbuster dude the main
87.
87.
Oh,
There
shit.
you go.
Look at that. I'm just making shit up. I was only off by a year.
Yeah. I mean, Spaceballs is a different thing. That was an intentionally comedic ripoff, but the other movies that try to take that tone and build that story in that kind of environment, nothing was ever super successful, I don't think.
No.
I mean, you could say Krul. Yeah, Krul is a cult classic, but it's still not it was never a huge moneymaker, even in cult status.
No. I mean, it's not like comparing this to Star Wars is a fucking joke.
No, Star Wars is a whole different level, man.
Yeah, it's a whole different level.
Star Wars is in its own fucking universe.
Yeah, yeah.
Own universe.
Yeah, like when you really think about it, it's the first massive franchise. Pretty much, almost. I mean, there's almost nothing like Star Wars until Marvel. Like there was no equivalent. There was nothing that could compete on that level.
And it's still a tough battle. You'll have a good discussion on that argument back and forth. What's better, like Marvel or Star Wars? And people will still like Star Wars. You'll never fucking beat that. And
you know what's ridiculous about that argument, or is the people that make that argument only love the original 3 movies that came out. They hate everything else.
That's true.
Or like they also like Rogue One. They're like, yeah, I hate everything other than Rogue One.
Yeah, Rogue One. Was
and then
okay.
they
the Mandalorian. They're like, yeah, the Mandalorian's okay.
Yeah, and then they'll go on and say it's the best thing ever created. I'm like, really? Because there's been 6, 7, 8, 9 other movies related to it and nothing you've apparently liked.
And all the characters, they hate Jar Jar Binks. Every character ever made, he was the worst character voted.
I'm like, so when Marvel can crank out, it gets tiresome maybe, but at least solidly consistent. What you would expect action movies.
Yeah, they definitely crank them out.
I mean, Marvel's put together a pretty awesome universe nothing that anyone has ever kind of seen the likes of.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it's such a talk about luck. Like if they don't cast Robert Downey Jr., if they don't, if the Avengers, if that movie tanked like Justice League or whatever, like there's no MCU the way we know it as it is now. I mean the same with like if Guardians of the Galaxy, if that didn't work out, like we were talking about, I think it was a couple weeks ago, like Amanda Seyfried was like, I don't want to be in that movie. That movie's gonna tank. With a fucking talking raccoon? Are you kidding me? A tree and a raccoon?
No, and that goes down.
I'm acting next to Vin Diesel, and he only says, "I am Groot." Like, no thanks.
And that goes down as one of the best movies Marvel has made. Is the original Guardians?
They've done some shit.
I think it's because of the soundtrack.
Yeah, soundtracks really good.
That doesn't hurt. Speaking of soundtracks, that was one of the most renowned things about Krul. People loved the soundtrack.
I'll have to listen to it because honestly, I was blinking out the fucking background music and shit.
That was one of my first thoughts as I was watching the movie. I'm like, the music at least fits this really well, and that was one of the things that people pointed out is like the music and the tone musically, just everyone enjoyed and loved.
This can be way better. Like if they did do like say they remade it and really did turn it into a like a Netflix series or something where it's episodes.
Like The Witcher?
They can explain when the Krul first comes to Earth, like what the fuck they are, like what the armor, the Slayers, what's inside them, and what goes into the ground when they get killed. and they can build off that. They can build like
Oh hell yeah!
the two kingdoms that hate each other, but they form by getting married. They don't explain that either. They're just like,
No.
you're like, what the fuck is going on? Like,
No.
I get it. But they're taking stories of, I get it, because back then, every story, book, anything you ever read about medieval times, you have your territory. Then the next territory you want you have a problem, but then let's make it alliance. The kids get married.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I get where they're getting at, but at least put a little background, like what each family is. Like, what the fuck? What the hell is this?
No, dude, and you nailed it, because I mean, we were just talking about Marvel, but in terms of, story building, Krul is like if the Avengers came out before any of those build-up movies to establish the story came out.
Yeah, you're right.
Like if Avengers came out first before anything else, like, and they're referencing all this stuff that's happened. There's all these events that built to that they reference. Like, and you're thinking, where the fuck are these aliens coming from? How did these people get involved and things like that? That's kind of in the scope of story similar to what Krul's trying to do. It's this big epic, sure, but there's all these little pieces that you could have explored to build up to it that make the epic seem so confusing.
Yep, I agree. This is what happens. Netflix should remake it. They should seriously, they should set it up like, I don't know if you guys ever seen it, but it's animated. It's Castlevania. Netflix did a remake.
That's fucking great.
That is great. Now, if they did that, and they can even do a live action, but because of Castlevania, how they set it up, they gave backstories, of Dracula and shit. Like, he was fine. He married this normal human until they fucking killed her. Then he lost his mind. He went mad. There was a backstory to it. They did it. And if they did it with this shit, like the aliens, what planet, what part of the galaxy they come from, what are they, like by detailed, the two kingdoms. Then they decided like side stories, like the princess or the princesses in her room going, we need an alliance to fight this.
Yeah.
Thinking about like maybe we'll send a letter, and they send it by fucking flying horse or something. And the princess is like, yeah, you got a great idea. Let's do this. Get our kingdoms together and fight Krul. They don't. It's just like the prince shows up. She's like, we're doing it for blah, blah. And then she turns around and he forces himself on and kisses her. Then when they're leaving, she goes, you love me? He's like, I love you. Like, what the fuck? That's like a minute. Mm-hmm. Like, I know some girls, they do that, like high school girls, like you date for like a half a day and you're in love. But come on, that's ridiculous. They need some backstory to this shit. Like,
it's funny you say that, because their big epic first kiss, they play it out like it's something that's been built to for
like they were secretly meeting, like Romeo and Juliet or something.
They build up that kiss, and it literally happens in the first 10 minutes of the movie to this big epic background symphony. And they've been apart so long, and they're finally embracing after all the struggle. Like, we're 10 fucking minutes into the movie. Yeah. What is going on? I'm like, really?
It's like, why should I care about these people?
Why is this a big deal?
Yeah, that 5 minutes later, they built up a whole ceremony. They're getting married 5 minutes later. And it didn't say like a day passed. I think it was the same night. I think he just got there. They didn't have to do a rest. His feet are tired from walking fucking 100 miles.
And he's wearing the tightest fucking pants
I've ever seen. Pants ever.
Dude, Robin Hood. What was that movie? Robin Hood, Men in Tights.
Oh, I put that on the list, guys.
Good. I can't fucking wait to watch that. I hope that's next.
Oh yeah, I did too. That's fun. I'd like that movie a lot more. Oh, that's funny.
All right, guys, we got to take a stance. I'm gonna show you guys right now.
What's going on?
Every single person, males that are in relationships, we all have to go through this, and this right here in 2021 needs to stop. Women.
Oh, that's never going to stop, man.
Listen, and see how the popcorn and pints thing is right here. We 100%, all four of us stand by this. No more bullying. No more bullying our plates and taking stuff off that you didn't want to order on your own because you said you didn't want to order it. No more. We're taking a stance on that. Just saying. And with that being said, let's go to the wheel. Real quick.
It's wheel. It's wheel time.
Is it wheel time?
We're not at the end, guys, but I'm just saying, let's just pull up the wheel because we were just discussing, what we would want to see next. And
look at the scan, guys. You see some good on there that you're hoping
ET is on the wheel?
Yes, sir.
Holy
Hot
shit.
shots? Not
Fucking
Duex, Hot Shots.
Step Brothers. I put Step Brothers on there.
I put Hot Shots on there.
Willow.
Oh yeah.
Willow is just like this movie, except it's pretty much good. So that would be interesting to see that.
All right.
Oh shit.
You guys ready for me to spin the wheel?
Yeah, let's
Spin
do
it.
As soon as the
Do
cup gets up, straight up is what I'm trying to say.
Spin it
Popcorn Pints.
Here we
Here
go.
we go.
for next week's episode.
My prediction is going to be Porky's. That's
Oh,
my
I put
hope
that on
so.
there too.
I hope so.
No, this is looking like fried.
Oh,
Weird
no.
science.
Nope.
No.
No.
Oh,
What is this?
LaTrue.
LaTrue.
The Hole. We get to watch The Hole. This is a cool. So this is one of my picks.
Wait a minute. There's
This
two.
is a-
Dude, this is not that type of hole, right?
It's a prison escape movie.
Okay.
You know what? I kind of wish I put Brokeback Mountain on there now.
Okay. This is a prison movie. All right.
It's a prison movie. They're trying to break out of prison. It's really
Okay.
good.
Okay.
It's really good.
Well, LaTrue
I never seen it, so
is what we will be reviewing next Saturday night at 9:00 Eastern time, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, let me take this off the screen or off the thing.
It is going.
Cool.
off the
That
wheel.
that thing is so cool.
It
That-
is.
yeah,
thing is
the wheel's
so
great.
cool. Yeah, the wheel. I love the wheel.
I freaking love it, yo. Like, again, I have no idea who came up with the actual idea of.
I said let's randomize something, and then you found
Yeah.
the wheel.
Okay, that's what.
And I think I mentioned I seen another podcast. They had a thing where it was comments though, but it wasn't like fancy like that. It was like a sideboard, and you just seen a whole bunch of names flashing. Then it just picks one and stops.
Okay,
But this wheel thing is pretty
Yeah,
cool.
the wheel is great.
I fucking love it.
Damn,
Right,
created that was genius.
LaTrue. That's what we're watching for next
LaTrue.
week.
Really, really good movie.
LaTrue.
So
Good.
You get to
It'll,
watch some foreign films.
It'll be nice to watch something good.
I don't mind foreign films, so
No, not at all.
You
I
said
guess you
porn.
foreign.
I
Okay.
heard porn.
That's what I heard.
I don't know. I didn't say no porn. That was
Yeah.
Aaron last time.
I don't mind porn or foreign. So
I forgot the exact what he said. It sounded like he said porn something.
I think Aaron's looking for foreign porn.
Oh yeah, there you go.
No
French
comment.
maids. What do you want?
Yep.
2 girls, 1 cup, dubbed in Spanish.
There you
French
go. You want French,
in French.
Italian.
Maybe. Because
Street.
then I can have Anthony come over and translate for me.
2 girls, 1 cup, dubbed in street.
Oh shit.
I don't want to see that one. That's too much.
So have our opinions changed on this one, or have our ratings gone up or down?
No, I think my opinion stays at 6. I mean,
Mine
I
too.
enjoyed it because I enjoy the sci-fi fantasy epic. I knew what I was getting into watching this. Again,
Yeah.
there's more traveling
Yeah.
and just landscape shots than I thought there would be. Like this movie, they could have easily chopped 20 minutes off of this
Yeah.
Yeah.
and gotten the same thing. They did seem confused in the direction they wanted to go between pirate movie and fantasy. Again, with the tights and the swords, and then the enemies having, their ray guns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It did seem like it was a lot of trial and error that they were just shooting for
Oh,
and seeing
shit.
what stuck.
You know what it is? So like this movie came out around the same time as the Pirates of Penzance, which basically killed the pirate movie. So like I guess they didn't understand that the pirate movie was dead yet. At least in the iteration they were trying in the 80s.
I mean,
They
the
were
main
like, yeah,
characters.
let's try pirates. And it's like, no.
Yeah, the main
no pirates.
character's fucking dressed like a pirate without the hat.
Yep.
Straight up, he's a fucking buccaneer. Like,
He's a fucking buccaneer.
And these are some of the cheapest looking sets I've ever seen. Even
Yeah.
even for the 80s and a $30 million budget, I was kind of surprised.
Disappointed?
I won't say disappointed because again, I know the reputation of the movie I'm going to watch,
Good.
but a little surprised.
if
Because
I were a producer, I would be very disappointed.
I'm like, this is what they had $30 million for. I'm like, there's great movies that get made these days for on half of that budget, like indie movies, but still,
Yeah.
I'm like, and this is what $30 million got them, even
Mm.
with all the script changes and everything. Okay.
No bueno.
Yeah, mine's staying a 6 too. Like, part of me, I gave it a 6 mainly because it wasn't bad, but I think my younger self would have liked it better.
If I was a kid, I would have been fucking all over this movie.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I gave it a 6, and I'm staying there. I'm not gonna bump it up or lower it.
Yeah, I'm sticking with 5 glaives. 5 glaives out of 10.
I'm sticking with 7, honestly. Like I said, I had fun with this movie, and as you guys pretty much all said, going back to like a childhood mind, I would have really enjoyed this movie probably a hell of a lot more because we're not looking at the imperfections of this movie. We're not looking at we're not even looking at the story so much as a kid. You're just looking, oh, this is pretty cool. That's a cool weapon. That's a cool sword. You know, there's some cool stuff going on, whatever the case may be. And then as an adult, we're nitpicking at all this other shit. But yeah, I think this movie is a solid 7. I think it is a solid 7. I do feel like it came out at the wrong time. And the only reason why I say it is because it came out after Star Wars. If it came out before Star Wars, it may have been more loved just because it's the first thing. But when you come out after, you can't be like so say Star Wars like Louis Vuitton. You can't be like the Walmart version of Star Wars and try to like really sell a lot. Of course, a handful of people are going to check it out or whatever, but you're not really going to go that, it's just that. It's just like, But I would like I said to you guys earlier, I would rewatch this movie within a few months or maybe a year.
I'll have to be really bored.
With that being said, I can't give it the Sir Sturdy stamp of approval because it's not like something I can go right back to, like say within a month. And I only say that because, I mean, we have a podcast. I don't have really a lot of time to watch movies. Like, I pretty much watch movies because of the show. I do enjoy movies, don't get me wrong, because of the shows, I should say. But this isn't one of those movies where I'm just like, oh yeah, fucking let's fucking throw on the Krul. Let's get some pizza, get some beers, get some weed, and throw on the Krul. Definitely wouldn't be. No,
Dude, it's something I'm happy I watched so that I can understand its place in the cultural zeitgeist, I'll say, when it comes to references and jokes and things like that. Without Star Wars, this movie doesn't exist, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that was the point that the studio was trying to make, is they wanted a sci-fi epic to rival that, basically. Like, in no uncertain terms, they wanted this big money-making sci-fi movie. That's why they went out and tried to find producers and writers to make it for them. Like, they didn't have a story idea in mind. They're like, we want to make this kind of movie. You're like, would you be interested in this? And then they found a director and a writer and things like that.
Yeah.
But
oh, go ahead.
Yeah, but it's a movie that I think if you're into this genre is worth checking out because there's going to be references to it.
Yeah.
And just check out Wikipedia for all the references because it's pretty actually widespread when it comes to referencing characters or the movie itself. Particularly in Family Guy, I know there's a number of Krul references.
I gotta go back and watch it because I've never seen. Now that I've seen this movie, not that it wasn't funny before, but I'm like, oh, it's from this fucking scene.
Yeah.
Oh, don't they do a joke with the Cyclops in Family Guy? I think that's the joke.
Yeah.
Yes, they do. That's one of them. Krul comes up in Family Guy at least 2 or 3 times.
Nice.
And I mean, not even other, live action movies, there's references to characters. I think there's a Brendan Fraser movie from what I was reading earlier where he referenced Rel, the Cyclops, for something.
I'm shocked that the internet
That wasn't the Mummy.
I'm shocked that the internet didn't take the Cyclops as remember that meme going around for the game Skyrim where you get shot in the knee and you die?
Yep.
Like I'm shocked no one had one where the Cyclops throws a spear and hits you in your kneecap. You just die. Like, what the fuck?
And also, one of the things I discovered as I was looking into the movie more behind the scenes, a lot of the fight choreography was altered based on limitations of the Slayer costumes, like last minute. So it seemed like they practiced much more detailed fight scenes stuff with the Slayers, and then they realized the limitations of the costumes after they got them on.
Oh, you can see it because
And
once
they
the
had to
close combat
they had to
came,
readjust.
yeah, the
you
close
know.
combat came. It's like you knock their
Yeah.
laser spear down. They just sit there and make a noise. They're like, "Urgh," and they just stab them. Like they can't move.
You know, those cheap
So-
Iron Man Halloween costumes
Yeah,
they put on
exactly.
them. They
So-
couldn't move that well.
You know, it's funny you say that, but I kind of liked them. I'm not gonna even lie to you. I liked them. Cheesy as corny as they were,
It was cheesy.
but it
Yeah.
was my first thought when I see it. I was like, "Fucking Iron Man."
It looked like a Iron Man child's Halloween costume to me. One of the
Exactly.
other scenes that really stuck out to me that I made a point to write down in my notes is when they're inside the Black Fortress, which on set was only 12 feet tall, by the way. So the actual Black Fortress model. But when they're shooting, the scenes are happening inside the Black Fortress, and they're running around, and the ground splits below them into like two, and the Titch, the child, and Ergo drop down.
Mhm.
And then the main character is going to go down and help them because the Slayers are coming, but then the floor starts to come back together. He's like, quickly get me out of here. Like, he doesn't want to drop down to help them. He wants to be pulled back up. I'm like, what
Yeah.
a fucking puss.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
He's
like,
like, "Fuck 'em, they're
he's
done."
letting the child and what seems like the weakest member of their party just on their
Yeah.
own.
Yeah,
That in the beginning wanted nothing to do with it. He just
Yeah.
wanted to follow him to get out of the forest because he was afraid. But he ended up going traveling to this danger shit all along. I'm like, what the fuck?
Like, they followed him here, and now he's abandoning them. Like, what a puss.
Yeah, no, it's fucked up. Sad shit. Like that whole inside the walls are closing, certain ones opening up, and I'm like, what is going on in here? Fucking, and I don't even know what they used because it kind of looked like they turned the walls like it was like inside of a something's stomach, kind of like.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not sure. Like, obviously, it's supposed to be some kind of fortress based on what they show you on the outside, but the innards of this fortress make it look like,
It's alive or something.
yeah, like you're inside the belly of the beast.
Yeah, that's what I was getting the vibe off. I'm like,
And not that the beast is inside this fortress somewhere.
yeah, and I don't know. That's what I'm saying. They don't tell you, and that's what you start making shit up yourself. You're watching, you're like, yeah, that's what it is. It's his stomach. Yeah. There's the thought you just went by his butthole. It just clenched the Cyclops shut. But
I
Well,
can see
don't
it.
know, man.
I can see the turd running along his intestine in that wall there. Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh shit. So the True next week. I've never seen that. I've never.
I never heard of it. Yeah, I never heard of it.
Are there
So-
subtitles?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, you can definitely find a subtitle version.
So James is going to have a real hard time with this, apparently.
Yeah, I am. Sucks. I'm gonna have to have my wife read it out to me.
Well,
like she's telling me
imagine-
the story.
Imagine Vin Diesel
Oh,
if he was
God.
on the podcast.
Oh,
Oh.
He'll be mad. He'll be like, I can't make it. I have a movie to do. It's like,
Fast.
motherfucker, because you have to read.
dude, he doesn't read. He just makes up the words as he goes along.
Mhm.
He can't read.
He's like, they're running down a hall.
I'm sure of it. None of his dialogue was written down for any of the movie he's
They
done.
told- played
He's
it
just
back.
saying, yeah, he's just saying it on the spot.
Has a little earpiece. What's my line? The car drives across the street.
The
Got it.
car drives fast.
He just said, "I am Groot.
Wrong movie, Vin. Wrong movie.
I am Groot. I am Groot."
He's no Tom Green, that's for sure.
Oh, who do you hate more, Chris?
I hate Tom Green more now. I didn't even realize that until.
Wow.
So thanks, Ibrahim.
I mean, you know my pain, man. You know my pain. Like, I remember watching that as a kid. I think one of my friends like, hey man, let's go watch this. Like, fuck you, dude.
Dude, that was that came out 2001. I think I said that was the year I graduated high school. That was one of the worst movie watching experiences of my life. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it is an abomination. It is an abomination of the
Fucking
fact that-
hate it.
that
I've never
someone
felt
put
that kind of
on
hatred towards a
film.
movie.
Mhm.
That just makes me feel so warm inside.
It's just an excuse for him to like touch horse dicks and these other animal dicks. Like, that's just
pretty much.
suck cow udders.
He's like, I can't go to jail for this. It's for a movie.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's kind of true though. Like,
Yeah. If it's planned out, it's not premeditated. It's
Yeah.
somehow allowable premeditation.
it's like it's like you can't pay someone to have sex, but if you do porn, it's fine. If you
Yeah.
pay them for that, it's like
Yeah.
totally fine, totally.
Yeah.
Oh, it's totally different.
It's
Totally.
it's legal if you're filming it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
That's all prostitutes have to do. They just have to bring a fucking
Just bring it.
camcorder
Yeah,
with them.
prostitution's
Bring it
legal
in.
if you have a camera.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Fucking crazy.
They're like, what are you talking about? We paid for this room. We're doing a porn.
It's totally fine. Totally legit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a legit operation. Oh, I'm sorry.
A very legit operation. But I guess
Oh,
we
yeah.
come to an end, guys.
Yep.
Wrap it up.
Wrap
Well,
up the Krul.
yeah.
Wrapping up the troll.
And with that being said, like I said, my ratings hasn't changed, staying at 7. I know everybody else says there's this thing what they gave it. If you guys want to do your plugs, no, 7. That's 7. I gave it 8, 7. Horror Research 30. This Chris, you're not tricking me again, Chris. I'm not again. But Horror Research 30.
I was trying hard. I was trying not to laugh.
The links will be down in the description. They're also for the live feed. They're up in the description. They'll be down in the YouTube description when this episode comes out. So yes, everybody can still say their things. You guys know I'm Search 30 with the Horror Search 30 podcast of the Z Network of Popcorn and Pints. Who wants to go next?
I'll go. I'm Chris, of course, from Stories from a Bar, talking to a lot of brewers and bar people and random people in the 518 with some awesome stories over drinks. Soon to be throw in, of course, some Statesman series episodes. More on that to come. And, of course, Popcorn and Pints every Saturday night here on the Z Network.
Yes, sir.
James,
Oh, all right, I'll go.
you get to go.
James.
The
you'll
other
catch
half
me-
of Cheese and Crackers.
Yeah.
Cheese and Crackers. You'll catch me on Popcorn and Pints, and you'll see me here and there, most likely Tuesday, Thursdays on Horror Resource 30. Yeah, check us out. Popcorn and Pints, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, Saturdays.
Deep Focus Cinema Podcast. You can find that where all your podcasts are sold. I should be going back to my top 100 movies list. I think tomorrow, possibly. Depends on if my co-host is available. And then I think next week I'm also going to be reviewing Starship Troopers. So we'll get to talk about that movie.
Nice.
Talk about a movie that it's interesting watching it as a kid than watching it as an adult. There's a lot of things that become illuminated. So yeah.
Speaking of which, really quick, I did watch one of your countdown videos, which was awesome. You got to have him come on here because that's another motherfucker that knows the movies. Like, just,
Yeah.
I feel like when we spin the wheel, when it's a real shitty movie, just to fuck with him, you have to have him come on for something like that.
Come on for yeah. It'll have to be. He's down. He's down for sure to do it. Yeah. So like the next like shitty 80s movie, I'll see if I can get him to come on.
All right.
He's got a big job coming up in March, so hopefully we can do it before then.
Okay. I mean, if it doesn't have to be a shitty movie, I just think that would be funnier to invite him over on for a shitty movie review. Like,
yeah, where we just all get smashed and we're like, fuck it.
Those are the best.
Yes. But people, again, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. Please subscribe to the Z Network. Please subscribe to Deep Focus Media, Deep Focus Cinema. Sorry. Stories from a Bar, Horror Research 30, all the above. Subscribe. Hit
Crackers
those.
and Wine.
Yes.
Hit up all of them. The whole Z Network.
No, they're cheese and crackers. We're
Cheese and
chicken
crackers.
grits.
Yeah. I'm grits. You're chicken.
Yes. Which one of you guys is cheese? Which one of you guys is who's crackers?
I think I'm cheese because I eat more cheese. I like cheese more than he does, I guess.
Got it. With that being said, people, peace.
I was hoping you'd say something about my screen being frozen, but I guess not.
No, I wasn't going to get fooled by
Not
that.
falling for it.
Buddies.